This is the Propaganda Report. I'm Brad Binkley, joined by Ian Covell, and you are listening to the outro music of Justin Ridgway as an intro. But we have commissioned further intro songs and even talked about the possibility of maybe testing out a few and having you guys vote on.
You can submit your own songs.
What you can submit your own songs?
Making that call right now. Just thought of it, Brad.
Yeah. That fantastic. Any song you want.
Yep. Any instrument you want.
It can be the bell. It could be, what did you play when you were younger?
I played the saxophone. Dude, if you want to have a sweet ass, kind of noir-y saxophone intro, that could be good.
That would be pretty sexy. I'd wear some unbuttoned shirts all the way down to the mid chest there, I think.
My name's Brad Binkley.
This is the Propaganda Report.
The Propaganda Report.
We're about to have sex. I mean, that's the kind of, I remember when Bill Clinton would play the saxophone, and you couldn't not think of it as some perverted thing he was doing. He really gave saxophone people a bad name, I think.
Yeah. Well, just to touch back on the noir thing, you would have to have a tape recorder that you talk into and act like we're not there. Just do monologues about the show. You know?
That's what saxophone players do? They do a lot of talking.
No, talking about the film noir. The film
noir.
If you're a detective, that's the tone of the.
It's the Propaganda Report. I'm Brad Binkley.
Yeah.
Been trying to connect the dots, and the dots have started connecting me. I don't know what's up. I don't know what's down. Everything's a PR stunt. A sex doll is the ice queen.
Saxophone music underneath this,
And sometimes I wonder what it is I'm doing, where I'm going.
Your man on the street stuff is all black and white, filmed on rainy nights.
It would be
in
really
alleyways.
I wear a trench coat. It's like the middle of summer.
Coat. That's
I'm wearing
all
a
your
trench
man on the
coat
street
and a
stuff.
fedora.
Yes.
I have a fedora and I have a trench coat. My granddad's.
And then we're halfway there.
And I can just talk. I can even do little Jimmy Stewart talk to him about, what do you think of Trump's deportation comments? And if you do it with a straight face, they'll never question it. They will go with absolutely anything. I played some of the clips the other day. I think I've told you for Jake and Zach. They were there with me when we were talking to these people. The 172-year-old lady was like, I saw somebody Heil Hitler. And I would have chased him down while I was driving. If I had an axe, I would have chased him down and chopped his car up. And I'm like, whoa, Grandma. Let's go get the axe out of my car. What's up, Bad Christian? What's up, Groby? Let's get this thing started. I do want to clarify something yesterday. There was some disinformation or misinformation, whatever you want to believe is on purpose or not.
There's a difference.
Coming from CNN yesterday. Turns out, sadly, Katy Perry and Lauren Sanchez, who was described as Jeff Bezos' journalist fiance the other day. I didn't realize she was a journalist, Jeff Bezos.
I didn't either.
Yeah. I don't know what investigating she does, but it turns out sadly that they are not. Neither is anybody else who was on that crew. They are not actually astronauts. Because FAA rules say that the Blue Origin crew didn't qualify because the ship was entirely controlled from the ground. So, yeah, I was wondering who was piloting, the pilot, when they were all swirling around doing videos for the camera. And I'm like, what are you saying? Hey, look at my ass, space. Because they were.
I liked how brave they all were.
That was really brave. Now, I was thinking about this earlier. So, if space is a man, I assume it's a man. Hey, what's up? Sonia, very kind of you for that tip there. Appreciate that very much. We have a guest. He's a little early. I don't know if you got my recent text, but we can jump into that story here in a second then, since we got him here with us. But I realize that space is a man, and you have all these women. They go up in this giant penis rocket, and they penetrate the edge of space. All women crew. Space got pegged, dude. Space got pegged. All women crew, and they fell to the earth. The shaft separated from the tip. The tip landed, and they spilt out like the last remaining sperm after a tragic accident. Yeah. They're astronauts. All right, what's up, Harmon? Harem reminded me earlier, he was talking about Airbnb. I went to high school with a co-founder of Airbnb, Joey Gibbia, and he loved basketball. Could never beat me at basketball. Well, guess what? Now he's part owner of the Spurs. So I guess he did beat me in basketball in the end.
Kicked your ass.
Yeah. All right. Pretty bad. But I do want to offer a bet for all his money at a one-on-one game. I get all his money. If I win, if he wins, we do corporate. Yeah, he gets all mine. No, we do corporate improv training for the Spurs. That's the bet right there. So, couple quick hitters here. More than 20,000 IRS employees have offered their resignation. Don't threaten us with a good time, IRS. It says here in the article that.
I think it's hilarious that they have that many to spare.
Well, Biden did hire an extra 20,000 during his term to make sure to collect income tax.
That's a lot of extra employees. How many are left? 800,000?
There's a lot of them.
There's 20 million IRS employees.
20 million. Half of the planet is an IRS.
Half the planet.
It says that. What's it say? So it says that some of them have resigned. Listen to the way they describe this. 22,000 employees in the IRS have signed up for the Trump administration, their latest resignations offer, according to 4 people familiar with the matter. Why do we need 4 people familiar? Like, if there's only 3, I need a 4th.
Two include 2 more. Because now we're
6
familiar.
of us, everybody listening is familiar with the matter. What's up for us, Mommy? And they say by leaving the IRS, it could weaken the agency's ability to collect taxes. Oh, no. It can weaken their ability
That's too bad.
Hack into people's bank accounts and somehow get the remaining $6 out they had.
It's too
Always
bad.
tell people, I never knew until years and years ago that you could actually extract less than $10 from your bank account until the IRS took it out for me. I couldn't get it out. There's no 657.
You paid for someone's lunch that day, bro.
Totally. You can't go to the ATM.
They have each IRS employee has a debit card with your tax money on it, and they can just walk around spending it.
Who is the guy who does that too? Who's like, all right, well, we're in his bank account. He's got $6.57 to his name.
Take it.
Take all of it.
Take it.
And they were wrong, though.
Fucking
deadbeat. They owed me money. They owed me money, dude.
I mean, you know. Oh, then what? Did you get it back plus interest?
I got $300. Yeah, dude. Hundreds. Like I really increased my wealth. Something like that. I don't remember why. I filled something out wrong. Obviously.
Huh.
It was retarded. The tax forms are so confusing on purpose.
Yeah, they could do better. I was on the Secretary of State website the other day, and I felt like as I got through each step, I felt like I had hacked my way through the government website.
That's what it feels like, dude.
I was like, yes, I fucking figured it out.
Well, even when you do it, it's like you don't feel confident it's right.
No.
You know?
No.
You're just waiting for maybe they won't show up because they're leaving.
And I have a friend who works in government, and I always roast him on this kind of stuff, and his response is, well, Ian, you have to understand, government is complicated. And I'm like, yeah, that's why you need better websites.
Yeah, I'm such a faggy. I'm such a faggy, and just why are you so hard on me?
Oh, he gets so mad when I criticize the government. He goes, what would you do if I criticized your career choice? I'm like, look, dude, that happens every day.
Yeah. Is he ever like pretend I'm the government and criticize me, you bitch? I'm just imagining this is
he's not
homosexual.
Gay. He's not
well,
gay.
He might be a little gay. If
he's not.
All right, moving on. The IRS had 100,000 employees before. 100,000 before Trump took office. 5,000 resigned in January, 7,000, and now maybe another 20, so that could be a third of them down. So goodbye, good riddance. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Another quick story. Buzz builds for AOC. Potential role as a leader in the Democrat Party because of the crowds she is getting, touring around the country with Bernie Sanders. I'm Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
And I want you to look at AOC's tits. I mean, taxes, plan.
Oh.
It's going to be a competition between AOC and do you know who? I think the top two leaders for the.
You think Hillary's coming back?
No. I mean, that'd be fun, but I think she's only going to be fun if Trump is there. I think we're going to see
Jasmine Crockett.
Exactly, Jasmine Crockett and AOC. Maybe they team up.
My name is Jasmine Crockett.
That's how she talks half the time. The other half of the time, she talks like this. I mean, she talks like a white girl.
Oh, she does.
Yeah,
she does.
And she code switches. But the reason that it's down to those two is because we live in a world where our politics are controlled by publicity stunts, and the people who are best at commanding the most attention and mobilizing the most people to blindly take action against their own interests without realizing it. That's who your leaders are going to be. Chuck Schumer can't do that. And that's why everything is just a competing publicity stunt. But I was thinking about that. That's really what these organizers do, these politicians, is they, especially Stacey Abrams is just a perfect example that I have a lot of specific details where she's done this. Her career, she's moved up every step of the way by demonstrating her ability to mobilize more people than anybody else her age to act against their own interest. I mean, that's a powerful thing. You can get so many people to do things that is not, it's going to literally disempower them. Some of them lead to them ending up in prison because of some of the things they do. And that's a politician right there.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think either AOC or Jasmine Crockett are going to last in the mainstream.
AOC's been around a little while.
Yeah, but
they need to. AOC, if she's gonna do it, she needs to never not be on camera unless she's in a two-piece bathing suit.
She'll just Kamala Harris the whole thing. She will.
Just drink a lot of white wine and marry a white guy.
She's engaged.
Marry a gay white guy.
A ginger.
Yeah. She also dates a gay white guy, right? Who I think he worked at Google or something. Maybe Shapiro. So
gingers.
Bad Christian, right? Yeah, we don't have anything. We love gingers here.
Love gingers.
So Bad Christian says maybe Shapiro, after that thing that happened at his house, which I believe was a like an Antifa type person that did it. If I
Brad, Antifa doesn't exist.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
That's every time you see something
Trump,
that says Antifa did it, you just have to say they don't exist.
You know what it was? It was somebody who looked like one of those Antifa people that don't exist. You know those like 5-minute mask on? It was Trump wearing a 5-minute mask of like a little Antifa guy burning Shapiro's house down. Yeah, we will. He's going to be here shortly. In fact, I think. All right, we'll bring him on right now. We'll talk about the story. Guys, welcome back to the show. Mr. President.
Brad, I told you could have made me wait longer. I was enjoying listening to the back and forth with you and Ian.
You really enjoyed the banner, Mr. President.
Oh, yeah, I love the banner.
Oh, thank you, Mr. President. That's a real honor coming.
It really does feel good.
They say Antifa is just unorganized. There's no organization at the top.
You're right. They need a Stacey Abrams on top.
Yeah, they need to start an NGO.
Well, they might collapse under her weight. You never know.
There you go,
you added some technology there.
Got a little technology, Mr. President. I wanted to have that rim shot ready for you because I know you have a fantastic sense of humor. Before we dive into the subject pressing on many people's minds, your statements yesterday, I listened to Bill Maher talk about his dinner with you and Dana White and Kid Rock. He had some kind of good experience to describe. Do you recall it being the same way?
Bill Maher is like a dog. He's all bark, he's no bite. He's actually a sweet man when you get to know him.
Yeah, and if Bill Maher bites somebody else, the way that you get him to let go is you stick your finger in his butt, right?
That's what I've heard. You either do that or you pick him up by the hind legs.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's how you got to get him off of. I don't know, but he's friends with Kids Rock. What if his name was Kids? Is that his kid's name? Kids Rock. I don't think he has any kids.
What's his real name? Bob.
Bob Rock. Yeah. Is his real name?
He doesn't let anybody call him that. Not even me.
No. Really?
No.
Not Bobby. Robert.
Yeah. Bobby Rock.
I just say your name is Kid.
Yeah, you do the ball. I'd like to see the opening of ball with the ball, where he's got the opened up button shirt and the wind's blowing his hair. I'd like to see you doing that scene, Mr. President.
Little bang jigga bang da bang digga biggie biggie bugga do da bang biggie.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Is that your favorite song of his?
It's the only one I know.
Well, it's really the only one to know.
What do you think of the all-female astronaut crew? Dana asked.
Well, Bezos is trying to do what he can to be the woke Elon.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bezos.
He might as well just call his space company WokeX.
I guess. I kind of think he did it for like the private jokes he makes, because he put 6 women in his rocket looks exactly like a giant penis, and he put them in the tip of it, and he had them fly out and penetrate the edge of space, and then they came down and escaped. It was just, I feel like he's just doing it to degrade, while at the same time outwardly saying, equality, look what I've done for women.
Well, I mean, that's really what most of them do, isn't it?
Yeah.
None of them really believe in anything that they say.
No, you're right. And I have a problem looking at his fiance. It's a hard to look at that lady.
He's a tough man to look at.
Bezos says, yeah.
Well, so's
yeah. So is his fiance. Yeah. He's a tough guy to look at.
Mr. and Mr. Bezos.
So all right. You're alluding that Bezos' fiance's got a Michelle Obama thing going on?
Yeah. Well, are you alluding that Michelle Obama's got a Bezos fiance thing going on?
I mean, that's what it sounds like. We're at an impasse.
They've both got a couple Blue Origin rockets in between their legs. Billionaires get with handsome women, says Force Mommy. All right,
Mr. President.
Yeah, who's got a real handsome wife is that Bill Gates.
Yes, well, not anymore. They're divorced, right?
Yeah.
It's amazing that
one handsome woman.
She was a handsome woman, but she left, I think, because of his associations with Jeffrey Epstein. So I'm going to play a clip real quick, Mr. President, and then we'll talk about it. A lot of people are up in arms about this.
Willing to pay for those facilities to be opened if new ones were going to be built?
I'd do something. We'd help them out. Yeah, we help them. They're great facilities, very strong facilities, and they don't play games. I'd like to go a step further. I mean, I said it to Pam. I don't know what the laws are. We always have to obey the laws, but we also have homegrown criminals that push people into subways, that hit elderly ladies on the back of the head with a baseball bat when they're not looking, that are absolute monsters. I'd like to include them in the group of people to get them out of the country, but you'll have to be looking at the laws on that, Steve, okay?
So first I want to say, is it okay to hit an elderly woman in the head with a baseball bat as long as you're making eye contact with her first? It's when they're not looking.
Brad, I think you answered your own question there. Do you think it's okay to hit elderly ladies in the back of the head or in the front of the face with
if they have eyes in the back of their head and they're demonic, I'm swinging away.
Well, you make a good point there. I didn't think about it that way. You're talking about literally having eyes in the back of their head. Like some type of fourth dimensional creature or something beyond the veil, something of those sorts.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Now you're raising something completely different, and we don't want them. We don't want those demons in our country either,
Deport them.
We got to deport and exorcise the demons,
Yeah.
We can't have an entire country running around of Batman villains.
Where would we put them? Are we going to make El Salvador the place we put all of our villains?
It's going to be our prison, El Salvador.
Is our
we've got Guantanamo too. Guantanamo is a very beautiful facility.
So, Mr. President, you are, first of all, the deporting of Americans comment. You talked about that before, and you're looking into the laws of it. There's going to be lawyers on the other side saying it's unconstitutional, and there's going to be lawyers that are looking into it for you that are saying, actually, technically it's not unconstitutional if this, and that. What is your – it seems like you're trying to kind of expand the Overton window of maybe what is acceptable for people there, especially with the description of beating an old woman over the back of the head with a baseball bat. A very unlikable type of person that is.
Oh, that's very unlikable. The same type of person that would throw someone in front of a subway, And
so who could defend? Who could say, "Wait a minute, how can we take rights away from this back of the head grandma beater?" Is that the strategy there?
Are we tracking the crime stats on this, Mr. President?
On grandma beaters, there's a lot of them. I know a family who, in Brunswick, Georgia, about 20 years ago, a young man broke into their grandmother's house and strangled her.
Oh, jeez.
But not with there was no baseball bats involved, so he's.
And it was from the front.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, he just came right into the house and strangled the woman. From what I had heard, she had done things to help the man out, all kinds of stuff.
That's a very specific story from a long, long time ago.
Well, we get into a lot of different specific stories, Brad. We find a lot of things. Like Ian was saying, we were tracking the stats.
Are you going to give
okay.
Americans, even if they're very, very unlikable and they're included in these grandma beater stats, are they going to get due process under law and a fair trial, the presumption of innocence until proven guilty, Mr. President?
I'd like to think so.
You'd like to think so.
That's the way that we do. Unless, look at the January 6th people. They didn't get any due process now, did they?
So, is that we're going to do what they did? We're not going to be better than them?
Well, there's a lot of progressives out there, Brad, and don't you think it'd be a lot freer, more beautiful, lush country if you didn't have to deal with all those douchebags?
So now we're just getting rid of douchebags.
Yeah, but Mr. President, you know how impossible that is. I mean, this is. Yeah. I would love the utopia you're talking about, but you know we can't do that. It's impossible.
Bad Christian says he wants a retribution. So I didn't know the full law around this.
What type of retribution is he looking for?
What type of retribution are you looking for, Bad Christian, and towards who?
Because Brad, this is the way that you this is the way you build your own bases. You gotta incorporate the chat these days.
No, we are incorporating
the
chat.
Chat's very important.
Very
I'd
frequently.
like to say hello to your entire chat right now.
All right, Mr. President. Stoner's here. He says Grandma Beater is the new Pornhub category just dropped. So that's like some really sexy. But, grandmas, by the way, Lauren Boebert, that's a grandmother. Talk about that.
I mean, you don't want to see Lauren Boebert get hit in the back of the head with a baseball bat.
No, but I would like to see her on Pornhub.
What's the baseball bat? What's that actually mean? Yeah. Is that something else?
Well, I mean, now you're just being perverted.
Well, Mr. President.
We're taking a very serious conversation here, Brad, and we're talking about it on a very serious level.
I apologize. I should not have brought in that innuendo. You're right. So go ahead, Mr. President. You were saying.
I mean, we don't want Batman villains running amok.
Of course, but what about American citizens? I feel like you guys are probably looking for some loopholes, maybe. Maybe it's just a rhetorical thing to scare people, but I did ask ChatGPT a question. Now, ChatGPT's answers are never a final answer. They are often to be disregarded unless you can verify the things that the little footnotes say. And even then, the stuff that's good, it's the beginning of research. It's never the end. But because I was like, I don't know the law around this. I asked ChatGPT. I said, is it unconstitutional to put an American who is found guilty of a crime into prison in another country? And it told me great question. So thank you, ChatGPT, for that. It says it dives into some interesting territory around constitutional rights, sovereignty, and international agreements. And it says, is it unconstitutional? I was actually expecting it to go opposite of you here, but it says not necessarily. Depends on the circumstances. U.S. Constitution does not outright prohibit placing an American citizen in a prison in another country, but there are constitutional protections that still apply. Due process, the 5th and 14th Amendments, obviously. The 8th Amendment protects against cruel and unusual punishment. So that would have to be something you'd have to – I don't know how that can be guaranteed in another country.
You know, I was thinking about putting bamboo sticks under their fingernails.
Wow. Well,
bamboo sticks.
that would be considered cruel and unusual, probably.
What about shocking them?
I don't think you could do that.
You say shocking things.
But what about, Mr. President? What about creating a prison colony on the moon?
That's a good idea.
You know, that's something that Elon's been bringing up a lot. Maybe you should have Elon on one of these days to talk about that.
We will get
great
Elon.
Idea.
We happen to know Elon as well.
You know, Brad, this does bring me up to an interesting topic that I think you would know a lot about, which is the secret infiltration of the communists into the United States through what they already wrote for us and told us that they were going to do through their Communist Manifesto.
The Communist Manifesto, that's kind of a playbook for many of these activists. And, you know...
So wouldn't one come to think that these were then deep-seated communists for many, many, many years playing the long game?
Are you suggesting that we should deport Americans because they could be hidden communists?
I'm okay with that, actually.
I mean, that's what we did to that little actor with the Hitler mustache.
We should have, there should be an asterisk.
Charlie Chaplin.
For all rights, there should be an asterisk, and at the very bottom, for commies, does not apply.
Does not
apply for commies.
And that is a slippery slope of revenge and retribution.
I'll ride that slippery slope. Mr. President, I'll ride the slippery slope with you.
The communism is a scourge, Brad. You know it yourself. You talk about it all the time.
No, I know it is, but
unless you're singing a different tune.
I'm not singing a different tune, but
tune here, Brad,
I've studied the communists and what they're doing at local takeovers, which they've told me with their own words now at some of these where I've infiltrated their activist group, and I've also seen the anti-Semitism, call everything racism, call everything Nazism, call everything anti-Semitism, call everything communism, is simply a way to kill nuance and divide and conquer the population.
And it's something that they've been doing since the 1940s.
Right, Mr. President, you're very good rhetorically there. That doesn't mean it's okay.
You know, you might want to be careful, Brad.
Are you going to accuse me of a commie?
Yeah, I mean,
being
you
a
can
commie?
Get deported, Brad.
Is this going to be your next executive order, Mr. President? Deport communist Brad?
I would just hope to think that you're not a communist sympathizer, Brad.
I've been highlighting the work the commies have been doing locally. Ian even went with me one time, these old-ass commies that were afraid you're going to deport the old ladies, and maybe you will now, Mr. President.
Well, I think there were a couple of times. There were a couple of times there at that event where, Brad, I felt like you were sympathizing with the commies. I gotta say,
felt like I was starting to be. Yeah. I was a little too in character. You're saying?
Are you sure that they're not? That they might be trying to indoctrinate you.
You know, I have to say I'm a little disappointed that you first assumed I was just a commie instead of a good actor, Ian.
Well, I mean, I can't tell the difference sometimes, dude, because commies are actors.
Yeah, a lot of communist actors.
I did go into some cars of some Trump supporters who were yelling at us, and I did try to get them to think about Project 2025. That is true, and they yelled at me and drove off. So I did get it on both ends there. I'm controlled opposition. Deport me, says Bad Christian. So here's what this chat GPT said, and take this for what it is. So I was just curious at what it said to pull on threads later. But it said, when would this actually happen? When somebody would be deported who's an American citizen who's arrested. And it says there's only a few real world situations where a U.S. citizen might be in prison. Well, before, with you, Mr. President, there could be more. Extradition and foreign prosecutions if an American commits a crime in another country, they can be tried, but that's not what we're talking about. International agreements, a rare case where the U.S. may transfer convicted people to serve their sentence in another country under a treaty or prisoner. Why would we exchange? That's not what we're talking about here. And military or intelligence context. So bottom line, ChatGPT offers you no avenue, Mr. President. Do you see a pathway to getting the power to deport Americans who have committed bashing of the head?
Like I said, Brad, we're looking into it. We're gonna look into it for quite a while, and then we're gonna look into it a little bit more.
Greenland.
That's what you want Greenland for.
We take over Greenland. We send all of our prisoners to Greenland.
Build the dirtiest prison there.
I think we need something like the Raft from Marvel Comics. Just a giant floating prison out in the middle of an ocean somewhere.
You big comic book reader, huh?
I mean, have you not been listening to me for years, Ian?
You're right. That's true.
I don't know how you have the time. Stoner says it's like that saying one must look in the mirror and not become the commies it has fought or something. We can't.
That's a very insightful comment.
The commies or the Nazis or the trannies. Starbucks has they're doing a complete new wardrobe for their employees now. Do
they look like Jetsons outfits or something?
No, they look like the old uniforms before they went super woke and had their please come do heroin in our bathroom policy, which they just also removed. And it's like, if you go read their page, they're like, we want to make this the place again where people come and because people used to go to Starbucks all the time. But now.
Yeah, I saw their ad, come work here or something.
They need to get rid of that tipping button. Yeah. It needs to be the next thing.
No more 6'2", 280 pound dude in a unicorn shirt Brad? Making my drink.
Right. Yeah, they have to wear like a nice outfit. No, I tip. I do. I tip them I don't go anymore. I try to take cash, but they scoff at me because you can't push the tip button. They like rape you into tipping them because they say, answer this question. And the question is tip $1. You have to go out of your way to tip nothing. And you still don't have your drink in hand before that.
Well, you could just go to the Kroger Starbucks, and they're not allowed to take tips there because they're Kroger employees.
Is that why?
Yeah, that's the policy. We look into that.
I didn't know that. No, I knew they didn't ask
into that though. That sounds like an injustice.
We looked into the Kroger policy already.
How much did you spend on that investigation?
$1.8 million. No,
that's not much at all.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
I know you froze $2.2 billion from Harvard, which people are like, "Whoa, $2.2 billion frozen," but people don't realize that Harvard is getting at least $9 billion in a contract.
I'd like to freeze even more from Harvard. I'd like to cut it all off.
Yeah.
Well,
they're going to be broke after this, right? I mean, how would? I mean, no one who goes to Harvard has any money. None of the legacy families have any money.
Yep.
How would they get any money ever?
It's their constitutional
it's not like
right.
It's Princeton.
Right, it's not like it's Princeton.
Yeah.
You go to Princeton, you come out a CIA agent.
Yeah.
Is that Princeton? I thought that was Georgetown. I thought Georgetown was the CIA.
Skull and Bones.
All right. Mr. President,
Brad.
Are you in Skull and Bones?
No, I wasn't in Skull and Bones. No.
So you can help us analyze this video.
Who is that?
All right. Do you see the title here of this video? It's the CNN, and it says, this woman dated only far-right men for a year. For her article she was writing for Cosmopolitan.
Oh, she's like one of those, she's like a 1990s movie with that woman with the...
Sex in the 90s?
No, who's that woman who's got the smirk face? Half of her face works, the other half doesn't. She was Firestarter.
Sandra Bullock?
You know who I'm talking about. She was Firestarter.
The Gretchen news lady from Fox News?
But she's got the same thing going on with her mouth. Firestarter. She was on 50 First Dates.
Oh, you're talking about the girl who flashed David Letterman.
Yes, Drew Barrymore. Yeah. Drew Barrymore. You know, she did that movie where she'd never kissed somebody or something and had
never
to go
been
back to high
kissed.
school, and she was a journalist.
How do you consume so much information to know
I've been around for a
so
long
many
time,
things?
Brad. That movie's really old. I've only seen it once.
Yeah.
I'm like an elephant, you know, just like the great elephant of the Republican Party. I remember everything.
You have lost a lot of weight, though. I wouldn't say you're the shape of an elephant.
I wasn't going to say that either. I've got the mind of an elephant, Brad.
Okay.
The brain, the memory.
All right. Well, I want to watch this segment with you guys.
Mammoth back.
Yeah. I wonder what she means by dating.
You gonna have a pet Willie Mammoth in the White House?
No, not inside. It's way too big.
You could ride it,
Have
though.
it in the front yard.
I'll have Barron ride
it. To school?
That's a great idea.
Yeah, instead of getting him a car, we'll get him a woolly mammoth.
He would make that mammoth look small.
He'd be like Grizzly Adams, but it'd be like
but him and a mammoth,
Mammoth Baron.
Mammoth Baron, yeah.
And there's Secret Service all around him on other woolly mammoths. And just riding down, middle of Central Park.
Yeah, just a whole pack of woolly mammoths. A beautiful sight to see.
Stoner says Trump talks like me, describing a movie actor. It's funny. All right, so
we've got more in common than you think, Stoner.
You're the everyman. Very good at connecting with all of us everymen.
Because he worked with construction workers his whole career. Right,
What's interesting,
That's right. You know, there's nobody more everyman than a blue-collared slob construction worker.
Slob?
Yeah, they're very
slovenly.
Yeah, we're all a bunch of slobs. This segment's weird because this is the headline of it, but it briefly talks about that, then kind of goes into something a little tangential. I want to see y'all's thoughts on this. It's very obvious what they're trying to do here.
CNN's Donnie O'Sullivan got in the cage with former UFC star turned podcaster Jake Shields to explore the manosphere and why exactly.
Oh wait, who's this Jake Shields? Is he like the anti-Rogan?
No, Jake Shields is a podcaster, and they try to make him look like he's an evil guy here. But yeah, he's a big podcaster now. Tripoli was just on a show, I think yesterday.
So he's not a flaming dimbo, huh?
No, they try to make him look bad, but the brief time he's in it, I have a feeling they cut most of his interview out because he just comes off as like a nice, respectful guy in the way that he's talking about it, and they come off as like skeezy, trying to get him to say something to make him look bad. But I thought that was a weird way to start this because
I wonder if that's real cheetah skin.
It might be. This is the woman who dated for a year. Listen to what she has to say about these right-wing men who dated this little piglet here.
They speak liberal. They have liberal friends.
And fear and why exactly it's so popular.
Wait, what's so popular?
They have
Donnie O'Sullivan got in the cage with former UFC star turned podcaster Jake Shields to explore the manosphere and why exactly it's so popular.
To explore the what?
Liberal.
The manosphere.
The hell's the manosphere?
You're going to hear it right here. They're going to describe it for you.
You're part of it, sir.
You are part of it.
Okay.
Yeah. This is all part of like.
It sounds fun, you know.
Yeah. Well, let's hear what it says. It is actually. You'll see that it kind of is.
They have liberal friends, and then they go online, and they are a white supremacist.
So there's the start of it right there. They have liberal friends until they go online where they are white supremacists.
Oh, I have so many text threads where I'm just an evil white supremacist.
So, right. So this woman here spent a year dating white supremacists is what I guess what she's admitting to.
Oh my gosh.
And then the music kicks in there. Listen to how the music kicks in.
Exactly. It's so popular.
They speak liberal, they have liberal friends, and then they go online, and they are a white supremacist.
This is Vera Papasova. She spent the last year dating
far-right men
in New York.
But then it's like an E-entertainment section with like
right. So
happy-go-lucky poppy music,
and that's what this guy does. Is kind of
like a little Sex in the City feel, huh?
It is.
You're
right.
familiar with that show, right, sir?
Yeah, I love that show. It's a very good show. I love New York.
Which of all the characters on Sex and the City, which one of them do you identify with the most?
Well, I'd have to say Mr. Big.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
So I guess that means, since I'm Carrie, Mr. President, me and you.
Yeah, we're gonna do it up real nice, Brent.
Now they're telling you what she did the past year.
This is Vera Papasova. She spent the last year dating far-right men in New York City for a story for Cosmopolitan magazine.
They're the most insecure men I've ever sat down with. It was really difficult to have some of these dates because they were so insecure, because they don't really know who they are and they don't know how to figure that out.
She said the men she dated got all their news and information from the so-called manosphere.
They did not listen to anything else. They're only listening to independent media, and they're only listening to men talking to men.
The manosphere is made.
So I thought they're not listening to men talking to men. Like, who should they be listening to? Like Rachel Maddow? Should they be listening?
So this is like what we're doing right now.
Yeah, right. We're in the manosphere right now.
So why don't you ask guys? Forrest Mommy still around?
Forrest Mommy's here, right there. I want to be Samantha when I'm older.
Yeah.
Oh, hey there, Forrest Mommy.
Yeah, Samantha. Everybody loves Samantha.
What is Forrest Mommy's thoughts on the manosphere? Because she's.
What are your thoughts on the manosphere, Forrest Mommy?
She dwells in there.
Yeah, so it's imagine this. We need you to write a story for Cosmopolitan. So your assignment is you have to date white supremacists in New York for 1 year and then write this article.
What do they mean by date?
Probably go out on dates. I would want to see evidence of sex. I think they have to.
What are we talking about?
She has to move in with them for like a few weeks.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
didn't she say that they're insecure? I know most conservative men are very secure with who they are.
That's a great question, Ian. These are one-off dates that she probably catfished them on like Tinder because, she's
this is such garbage.
She's doing a little catfishing, I bet, and I bet she's selecting the people who she can portray in this manner. I mean, this is not a woman here that...
Sounds pretty dishonest.
It does sound dishonest. It continues.
To men talking to men.
The manosphere is made up of macho podcasters and influencers.
Macho.
There's no such thing as an independent female. Most women have zero concept of like money.
Females don't have independent thought.
It's a space where UFC fighters are among those who reign supreme.
They love the UFC guys. They love the MMA guys because those guys do what they can. They're modern gladiators. They're badass.
Badass like Jake.
So I find it interesting that she's now calling the gladiators, who are also part of the manosphere. This guy, Jake, who they try and make look bad, was one of these gladiators, as you said. And
I didn't call any of them gladiators, but she did.
That's what she did. Yeah.
That's because she's, all women really want to be dominated at the end of the day, Brent.
That's right. Let's grab them by the pee, right, Mr. President?
That's what they really want.
So here's the Jake guy. Let's watch a little bit more of this.
Jake Shields, a former UFC.
By the way, you guys see Ron Ogden, our friend, is interviewing this woman.
C-star turned podcaster.
All right. Now
this
I'm
guy says macho
nervous.
and podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course.
Who I met at an MMA gym in Las Vegas.
This sounds like
MMA
the biggest
pros.
pussy Irishman I've ever heard.
I know, and he's about to put on some boxing gloves and get
and
a little
the
lesson.
Irish they're not known for being pussies, I've heard.
No, Connor would probably kick him out of Ireland and send him to a prison on an island.
Conor McGregor would probably eat that fat young man.
He's doing his inhaler.
What a fucking dork.
I've never hit anyone in my life.
I'm not punching down. Did he really just, Did he really
Yeah, he did his inhaler.
God, this guy's a nerd.
He looks like he's allergic to air.
This is CNN. Do you miss being full-time pro, like in terms of?
Yeah, of course I miss it. To go from professional athlete, which is the highest of highs, to retirement.
And I guess the
podcast has helped.
All right.
You could fall into depression if you just go from the most amazing career where you're famous and spotlights to all of a sudden you're a nobody.
Sure.
You're right.
Like other podcasters in the manosphere, Jake regularly hosts controversial guests.
And I named the podcast Fighting Back. I feel like we have to fight back what we're told we're allowed to do. I just don't like to be told you're not allowed to talk to this person. Like, why can't I talk to him? I'm not saying I agree with his ideology, but I should hear what he has to say.
He's hosted the former Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan.
Today I have
David Duke, who's like been a congressperson. They always use David Duke.
You know who else was a former Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan? Senator Byrd.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton's friend.
Yeah, and Hillary and Obama's and Biden's.
They always do that as though. Is nobody on the planet supposed to talk to him? Can you not try and find out why he thinks the way he is?
So did this modern day gladiator? Did he date this prude?
It reveals.
No.
No.
So why did he agree to do this hit piece?
I see. They skipped real. I probably didn't. I don't know.
He didn't know what they the way they probably emailed him was something like, "Hey Jake, we need your help with a story we're doing." And Jake's like, "I could use a fucking publicity."
Yeah, I think he probably suspected a little bit, maybe too, because he's got a really big following.
I don't watch
and
the show.
he's got his fans for his career translated over to his podcast, and he's got a huge podcast. And my guess is that I don't know his mind, but I'm speculating he probably was like, I'm just going to show him what I'm really doing. And he's just like, he even said it here, I don't necessarily agree with him. And CNN wants to just rush over that. Like, just because you talk to somebody like David Duke, that means you are David Duke.
And these news stories, the way they put them together and the way the tempo that they use and everything is like, oh, we got to hurry up through this. We don't have a lot of time. We got to just hurry. A lot of news to get through.
And the voiceover afterwards. And there's about 30 more seconds of this where they try and taint him a little further.
You're right on every 99.9% of everything you said, except you should have said fake news to get through.
You're right.
Yes.
And then they do this hit piece on this poor young man who's just trying to put a life together for himself.
Yeah, and he asked him about talking to these guys briefly, but you can tell in the edits that I don't think they got much to smear him.
That's Dr. David Duke. I know you're controversial, but I had no idea how controversial.
And Thomas Russo, the leader of the white supremacist group Patriot Front.
Let's go where we disagree a little bit.
Yes, sure.
Let's hit race, because you're a white-only group?
So the organization only allows people of American ethnicity, and all Americans, I believe, come from Europe, so they're white.
The true heirs of the American.
Wait, did he say that all Americans come from Europe?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think that
American ethnicity.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, we'll just gloss over it like saying
guys, but I've also not thought anyone hateful. If I do, I'm going to be really on top of them.
But so you saying that you haven't brought someone hateful on, right? People will say, well, you brought on a Grand Wizard of the KKK.
Yeah. So instead, right there, real journalist, he said, if they are hateful, that I'll stay on top of them. And a journalist would say, so if they bring up these subjects and maybe delve further, and what things have you objected from? Instead of just sticking to, but you've brought on the Grand Wizard of the KKK, and you've brought on just saying all these things as though that it's a propaganda by association.
It's all they do. They're such fucking idiots.
It's so
anybody watches this shit.
They used to interview people. David Duke's been on CNN a number of freaking times. Mr. President, you want to do... Let's see what Force Mommy responded with, and then we can talk about all whites from Europe. I know you wanted to...
we can just gloss over that.
Trying to make USC look bad. Definitely. Yeah, they hate it. You don't even want to have to think ever. Lefties are condescending.
I think Slavics are also white, and they're from Russia.
Right. Yeah, so I don't know how that interview played out. And I don't know what his historical knowledge is in that, but it sounded like he was asking the guy what he believed. It wasn't going, everything out of your mouth, I already believe.
He was so people who are interested in becoming racist, how could they reach you?
Yeah, do you have a card or like?
What would be the first like 3 things you would teach white supremacists? What
3
were the 3 mistakes
tips
you
for
made
aspiring
at the
racist.
Yeah.
You know, my kid's an aspiring white nationalist. I tell him one day, son, one day. David Duke comes down our chimney.
What did Forrest Mommy say?
Forrest Mommy said she didn't want to have to think about that, but she says leftists are so condescending, and they're trying to make the USC look bad here. I agree with that. Let's see. The new number 6 says, if I were Jake, I would have leaned heavy on I've been hit in the head a lot thing. Yeah. And I think the other guy, I don't know that he's ever been hit in the head.
You know, Forrest Mommy might be like the queen of the manosphere.
Is that true, Forrest Mommy? Are you the queen of the manosphere? All right. All right, let's do one more quick video here because I want to see. I haven't watched this, but I saw the story about. I don't know what the show White Lotus is about. I just know apparently it's weird. And there's an actress in the show who the story was that she was upset that SNL did. They portrayed her in a sketch as having really weird buck teeth, and she said it was unclassy and it wasn't funny. And she said she didn't care if they make fun of her if it's funny. And but then her co-star Walter Goggins, who apparently they don't get along. Walton Goggins. He said it was smashing, which I thought is a weird thing for an American to say, unless they're talking about having banging. But
you know, I really like that redneck actor up until about right now.
Right, and so he loved the sketch. She says it was bad. Mr. President, Ian, you guys are both you're comedians, and you're both you can analyze and deconstruct comedy for us. So let's see if SNL did a good sketch or a bad sketch.
I doubt it. You're not going to make me watch this, are you?
We're going to watch part of it up until the point of I'm going to tell you which actress.
I'll be able to tell. I've seen the poster.
Which actress?
But I just hate watching Saturday Night Live. I've tried to put it off.
It'll be okay.
Mr. President.
And then every time somebody goes, "Oh, there's a funny sketch out there," and then I watch.
Pretend you're in the situation room.
And then it's not funny.
This is the situation room, Mr. President. You have to do this for America.
All right, I'm doing it for America.
The white POTUS.
Hi, Donald, you getting ready? Hello, Earth to Donald. It's your wife, Melania. Are you okay?
Huh? Oh, yeah, sorry. I'll be ready in a sec.
Uh-oh.
I told you, Eric, if you want to be a man, you gotta start having shakes. No, Eric, I meant protein shakes. Here, why don't you make your own? It's about time. Okay. Buddy, did you just blend your gold Rolex?
You said it was about time.
Right. BT Dubs, where's Ivanka? She's been MIA for Dad's entire presidency.
You must ask yourself, am I willing to give up greed and
Ivanka.
material possessions in order to lead an honest and ethical life?
Johansson.
I mean, we are so lucky that America will always be a rich and powerful nation.
I mean, can you imagine how awful it would be if America lost all its money and no one in the world respected us anymore?
Trump triggers worldwide recession.
Never
Newsmax.
let our economy go to pieces. Right, hun?
My wife doesn't sound anything like that.
No, she doesn't.
I love my butter noodles.
I'm going to skip
North
forward
Carolina.
a bit here.
Howard Lutton by other countries.
Junior?
Active measles virus. I just want to stab somebody with
Okay,
it.
here it is.
With us? RFK Jr.?
I mean, it's like I have all these crazy ideas, I have this syringe full of of active measles virus, and I just want to stab somebody with,
That's the worst RFK impersonation
It's
I've
terrible.
ever heard.
It's a mess.
This is a mess.
It's terrible. I
Absolutely.
can do a better RFK impersonation.
It's
than
not
that
a good
guy.
RFK.
It's not even the impersonations. I mean, those are terrible. Don't get me wrong. The structure,
It's
the whole sketch,
everywhere.
It's an absolute mess.
Unfocused, and right after this, we're gonna see.
I just want to go ahead and say again that my wife is much hotter than that woman.
I would agree.
As well as doesn't speak like that. She's
Better
not
voice.
a Southern woman
Why did they
from
make
a
that
redneck
choice?
state.
I don't know. Because they're too concerned by making the measles joke, like he's injecting people with measles, than they are the actual like good impersonation, good comedy. You can, with the Trump impersonation this guy does here. The problem
It's
with
terrible.
it's terrible in my opinion, mainly because you can feel the sense of just the liberal, the hate, like they're prioritizing the desire to go after Trump, and that comes through, and it ruins the comedy.
Yeah, it does.
You know, there's not many people that can do conversational Trump.
Right.
You know, this guy definitely can't, and he gets paid millions of dollars, I would assume.
Yeah. About 10 more seconds here, and then we'll cut this trash off.
These insane ideas, like what if we took all the fluoride out of the drinking water? But what would that do to people's teeth?
Fluoride? Wait a minute, I recognize that guy.
Okay, so that's it basically. That was the whole thing, and SNL apologized to her for portraying her teeth that way.
But that's because they have no backbone.
Are her teeth messed up at all?
She's just got little buck teeth. That's all.
Look
Just
at the
picture.
let's pull the actress up.
Cute little imperfection.
She's a cute little girl with big buck teeth. That's all.
She does have. This is a bit of an
You've seen her,
exaggeration.
Mr. President?
What is her name?
I'm sorry?
Amy Lou.
You've seen her, Mr. President?
I've seen the poster on the Max.
Here she is. Well, so I would say hers is attractive. Here it is. You see it?
Yeah, she's a very beautiful young woman.
I don't think those are.
She's got a nice neck.
She's British, right?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, those Brits have some
British
terrible
teeth. It's just British teeth.
It's everybody in the UK. Yeah.
Everyone in the UK is they just do not get orthodonture work.
No, they
I
don't.
don't know why.
But SNL should have apologized for the trash sketch because her assessment was correct. She said, how did she describe it? She said that. She said
they
that
just made some stupid bucktooth person. They didn't do.
I know.
Anything about her or her character or anything like that.
Absolutely.
She
There's
jumped
no.
Based off of what she looks like, it's like they went off and called her a retard or something.
It's hack impersonations, is what it is. You're right.
It really is, but it's what can you expect from the propaganda network of NBC?
She said
SNL is about to be over.
It's about to be gone. You think it's going to end?
Oh, once
in less than 5 years.
Yeah.
Once old what's his face kicks the bucket.
This is the sad
Lauren
right
Michaels.
SNL is so bad.
Into the ground.
SNL is so bad. I would turn it down if they came begging for me to be a part of it.
Yeah, because you couldn't do anything that would be.
No, I would just say
funny.
no. Fuck this. It'd be miserable. I have to go to
None
New
of
York,
the
it's
comedy
terrible.
from the Third Eye Carnival would be allowed anywhere near.
You gotta work
SNL.
6 days a week.
They don't allow cocaine in there anymore.
No more cocaine. No more fun.
Yeah, just make fun of Trump in any way you can.
Yeah.
I like all those blown up funny guys they had in the 70s, 80s, and the 90s.
All the dead ones.
Yeah.
Hey, but they were funny, Brad.
They were very funny.
All the best
Chris
comedians.
Farley was a lot funnier than that gremlin or whatever that you showed us from Ireland.
All the best comedians had heart attacks and died.
Yeah. Have you seen Chris Farley's father? A picture of him with his dad?
Yeah, he's obese.
Chris Farley times like 4. It's crazy. Wow. It's crazy. Ian, I know you have to go, Mr. President. If I would like to get Ian, if you can stick around,
making us watch that?
Because I wanted to see what y'all's thoughts were. Was it offensive? Was it a good sketch?
I think
it was offensive.
It was just mean.
Offensive.
It was just mean. That's all.
I was offended by it. What they said about my family. And how they didn't do good impersonations of anyone.
It was lazy. It was all lazy.
Lazy.
Yeah. So I want to get Ian, if you can stick around for 5 minutes, if you can, if you got to go. And I know
5 minutes. We got 5 minutes.
Last story here. I want to get y'all's assessment on this. There's a Braves broadcaster who's getting a lot of heat today because of something that happened during the game yesterday. I'm going to show you what happened. This is an outfield. They have reporters going out and talking to fans out there, and they're actually in Toronto. And here is where's that Braves? Not her.
You can't be a man. You can't be a man and flirt. You can't do that. You're not allowed.
Did you see
be a man
what I'm taught?
No, but it's a rule. As a general rule, you're not allowed to be a man and express any kind of sexual desire or even mild attraction.
Right.
You're not allowed to express that. That's basically what you're doing is you're warming up. You're warming yourself up for rape. You're just gonna rape.
Dude, 100%. I want you guys to evaluate this on a scale of 1 to
0 to rape.
Yes, of 0 to rape. Exactly.
Okay.
All right.
Wait a minute. Who's getting raped?
We don't know.
It'll be obvious, sir.
We don't know. So this is you're about to see what happens in this little exchange here.
We're having a lot of fun up here up the Corona rooftop. Who do we got here? What's your name?
My name's Lauren.
Lawrence, all right.
And I'm Kayla.
Kayla, and you guys hang out at the rooftop lounge often?
Once a year I come out to visit.
Okay, well we timed it pretty well. All right, good. How are you guys feeling about rooting for the Braves today?
Oof, I don't know. I'm hoping for the best.
What about you? Are you a Braves fan now?
Not quite.
Not quite. All right, I'm gonna go to work up here, guys. Good luck the rest of the way. Okay.
Wow, he made small talk.
Wait, hold on. Listen to what they say here.
4 innings to get the numbers. I'm on it. Come on.
Get us some more Braves fans.
Watch this.
All right, so they want me to get your number.
They want you to get my number.
I'm dead serious. They're saying in my ear right now.
And I want you to notice her body language, which you could see from the very beginning of the video. She is into this guy.
Of course she is.
Super into him.
Believe me, because she thinks you guys are not. I'm making this up. Even if you guys weren't, I might use that in the future. That's actually a pretty good move. This is unbelievable.
So the best part of this right now is that Wiley could totally be faking it. This might be the new move.
That's true.
Just walk around with a FanDuel microphone and an earpiece in and convince fans that they're actually on TV.
I should have thought of this years ago.
Look, she's putting her phone number in his phone.
Oh my God.
And the other woman is disgusted.
The other woman is, that's when you swoop in.
Look at her, Ian. Look at her. She's annoyed that she's not getting the other.
I know, and the woman, she's just, the other one's just awkward. She's like, God, I don't want to be here. It's annoying for her, I'm sure. She's like, why do I have to be part of this? Can't you cut me out of this picture? I just want to enjoy my frozen drink.
But look at this girl.
Every time she comes around with her, somebody gets her phone number.
This girl is full on body language, right? She's got the head tilt, and she's been oogling this guy from the moment this segment started.
Exactly. Look at the head tilt, the giant grin.
Yeah.
She is like, I want to eat you for lunch, Mr. Man.
And look at the very beginning here. This is the very beginning of the segment. And look at her. She's already into it. And so
it's so funny.
She is too. I think they both are a little bit.
This guy's attractive
because he's holding that microphone.
He's a very handsome. He's a very handsome young man. He's in great shape. Apparently, like you said, he used to be an athlete, right, Brad?
Oh, I don't know if he was or not. So here's what some people are calling this. They're saying it's so wrong. They're saying that it's misogynistic. They're saying it's unprofessional. They're saying it creates a double standard that exists as it relates to the way male and female reporters are expected to conduct themselves. And now,
You're kidding me.
He's not a real reporter.
Are you
He's a
fucking
sports
kidding me?
journalist.
Right.
How?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm going to show you exactly what happened 2 weeks ago during the NCAA tournament. To counter this point here, very briefly, there was an exchange during the NCAA tournament you might have seen if you're on X, and it was this right here. This went viral here. This University of Florida ESPN student reporter and this basketball player here, who the whole thing was like this guy's just smitten over her and she's asking stupid questions, and it went super, super viral to the point of where the last couple of games that Florida won national championship. So there was like 2 more games they were in after this. She was like going over to him to try and recreate the virality of this and exploit it. Virality. Thank you, Mr. President. And this, I should tell you, so this guy here, this player, this is not a player that scored a winning point or scored at all. This is a guy who averaged 1.1 minutes a game all season, averaged 0.04 points per game all season. He is a walk-on who spent the first 3 years at Florida as the manager of the basketball team, and because of his hard work was upgraded to a walk-on player. And Florida was winning by like 20 points, and they let him go in for a few minutes in the NCAA tournament at the end of the game. And her thing is like, I don't know. He might have got I think he got 2 points. I think he scored 2 points.
You know what? Good for him.
It's a dream come true. It's a dream come true.
It's a dream come true. American dream story.
Yeah.
We're all proud of number 22.
Absolutely. And he's a Jesuit. He went to a Jesuit high school and was valedictorian. He's probably a virgin, this guy. And this girl is manipulating him. She saw this viral moment. Here's what she did right after this. She created T-shirts.
To interview Rudy or what?
No, she created T-shirts to sell, to cash in on it, and then she sought him out intentionally, and each time she sought him out after, she was being more touchy-feely and being a lot more comfortable with somebody she's interviewing that a man would never be, because she's trying to exploit his naivete and the fact that he thinks she's pretty. She's going home with the NBA bound guys, okay? And she said we want to cover this inspirational story because.
What are you saying? She'd rather have that BBC than him?
Yeah, probably, Mr. President. There's some white guys that are also NBA bound potentially in Florida, but she said we love our walk-ons, just very condescending like, and she's in the men's locker room here, very clearly trying to use this poor kid. Not poor kid. He didn't care probably. He probably prays and goes to bed at 8 o'clock every night. And yet nobody's saying this is exploitation. The guy who gives the girl who wants to give him the phone number, he gets it, and that's misogynistic. But this is perfectly fine.
You know, Brad, I think you should really make an example of this woman. And
I do too, dude.
You should go after her super hard and get them to fire
We
her.
will. I'm going to spend the next 2 weeks, folks, trying to just bring her down.
And then afterwards, you can bring her on the show, and I'll tell her you fired.
Yeah. I would love to make that happen, Mr. President. So I just thought it was just so interesting.
I just hate seeing a young Christian man exploited like that. You know, it really tugs at my heartstrings and disgusts me.
He's probably got him a Jesuit girl that his parents arranged a marriage for him to get on. Okay, I'm telling my kids this is Larry Bird. There you go, Stoner. The gambling sponsor should offer, does this carpet match the drapes, the betting round, everything you can bet on these days for sure. Like the Seaman race in L.A. next week.
That is a really ugly shirt, by the way.
I know it is. She didn't even try. It's like that.
It's not good at all.
Did it sell?
I don't know. I haven't seen the profit margin, though. She's a hottie right
now.
There you go, Mr. President. Hubba. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me, Mr. President.
So she was raping that young Jesuit boy.
Yeah. That's a little too much makeup for my taste, but
I don't know. Go back up to her, Brad. Just go back up to her.
You'd like to see her again?
I mean, I think she's probably she's attractive, but
I don't want to see that woman.
I don't like her little makeup style thing.
Oh yeah, I like that. Very tan, very blonde.
Yeah, I know. She's like a Georgia peach, isn't she?
She's like a Targaryen.
You like those? Can you imagine though? That poor guy. This girl would own him.
Oh, she'd own anyone.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
This girl's in the men's locker room.
Yeah.
It's just look at her.
Well, you know.
God. Oh, you didn't see this one. Look at this one, Mr. President.
Ooh.
That's a nice photo.
Mr. President.
That's a nice show.
You know, I don't know if they hired her for her talent and journalistic integrity.
Yeah.
She's standing like that with her legs by his like her,
Hey, I gotta
thighs.
go. I gotta get going,
Ian,
guys.
Thanks, man.
I'm gonna just go. I'll do a little more research on her.
Yeah.
And, let you know what I find out.
I want a full report. We'll all bring in our reports and we'll compare.
All right.
Mr.
Mr. President, it's always an honor, sir.
Absolutely, Ian. God bless.
God bless
America.
I'll see you, Brad.
See you later, Ian. God bless. Where are these? Are you going to send the Americans, Mr. President?
Am I going to what?
Were you going to send the Americans again? Who was the guy that was in
El
the
Salvador.
God bless El Salvador.
That's right.
Absolutely. I'm too distracted at this point.
I'm sorry, Mr. President. You can't let Melania know about that.
What is that little bean to the left on your background?
On mine?
Yeah, that thing. No. On the background of the video.
Oh, the one that I just had up there?
Yeah, what is that hideous thing?
What? Let me see.
No, on the background behind the pictures.
Are you talking about right now?
Rhinoceros.
Oh, here, I'll show you. Let me show you. You see that?
No, it's still just you.
No, you can't see the background screen here?
I can only see the screens on top of the screen.
Here, what about now?
Nope, it's still just you.
Really?
Yeah, either way, you go from looking at that beautiful specimen to whatever that terrible piece of art is that you created.
Well, I asked Grok to make a progressive journalist with pink hair, an image of one out on a date with a strong UCF fighter with his shirt off, and that's what it made. And it made that fat girl, and it showed her nipple.
You didn't ask it to make her fat? You just said progressive.
Yeah, I didn't say fat. It just made her fat.
See, there's proof right there. AI is a lot smarter than we think it is. It knows that all these progressive women are just Boilermakers.
What I was surprised about was
thank you very much, Steve. Thank you.
It showed her nipple.
Ew.
Here, I can show it to you this way. It's not going to be as good looking as that journalist girl, though.
Oh no, I've already got my retinas burned from whatever I saw of it earlier.
What? So will Melania be upset with you for doing that? For
ogling?
For lusting at this woman?
Ogling, Brad. There's a difference.
I mean, she could be your granddaughter, Mr. President.
Well, you know, a lot of people could be my granddaughter, Brad.
I couldn't be your granddaughter.
Well, you're not a woman, Brad. Do you know what a woman is?
I do not. There you go.
See, that is hideous. That's the most hideous thing I've ever seen. I like how he's just not got a shirt on in the middle of this restaurant.
Yeah, I know. Right. He loves this big girl, dude.
And she does not look into it at all. She looks terrified.
What really surprised me, I didn't ask it to show nipple through the shirt.
Flattest tits I've ever seen in my life.
Like, Grok just added that nipple through the shirt. Yeah, you did assume my gender, Mr. President.
I did assume his gender.
I like to keep that close to the chest.
But there's only two genders now. You know, we've made it nice and legal.
You made that executive order. They do look like they're in love, though.
That fat girl and that UFC fighter have the same size pecs.
Yeah, they do. That's why they like each other. You know what they say, when you have the same size pecs, it's chemistry.
How much do you think it takes to fill that girl up?
What are you talking? Food, Mr. President?
Yeah, I'm talking food. I'm not talking gym.
I was going to say the Lakers, probably.
No, the entire team.
Yeah.
She's going to eat the team.
Yeah, well, one way or another.
I heard your boy Trae Young got ejected from the game.
Did he really?
Yep, ejected.
Did they lose?
Hold on, and I'll tell you.
Trae Young got ejected. They might have lost. They probably lost. He got ejected.
Magic clinched the playoffs, 120-95.
Oh, they got blown out by Orlando. They still got another game they can play, but like they suck, dude.
Trae was ejected in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
I wonder what he did. Just fouled out, or you think he did something like?
He probably hit a grandmother over the back of the head with a baseball bat.
I doubt it. That Trae Young's a good boy. He's a good boy, Brad.
I sure hope so. I don't know. Probably justified. Referees are always terrible. All right, Mr. President, would you like to direct anybody to any websites or any upcoming executive orders?
You just meant like direct anybody in general.
Oh, or direct traffic or anybody in general, or offer advice to people?
I think it would be fun to go out and direct traffic sometime.
It'd be just like that McDonald's gig you had.
Yep, I worked at McDonald's for a day, longer than AOC worked at McDonald's.
But you got to be good at it, because if you do it wrong, there's going to be a lot of accidents.
I'm still really upset about you making us watch that Saturday Night Live sketch.
Mr. President, you're in the situation room sometimes. You got to deal. It's like the Houthis.
You're telling me that SNL is the equivalent to the Houthis?
The Houthis are like Star Wars villains, right?
They are kind of like Star Wars villains or Star Trek.
That should be your spin there, because a lot of people don't like you bombing the Houthis. You should just say they're Star Wars villains. I took them out just like, or Star Trek maybe, like Captain Kirk, and you didn't even have to use the little pointy-eared immigrant.
Brad, sometime I'd like to go back and forth with you on your whole Israel-Palestine thing. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
You think so? Which do you have your Israel jersey on?
Had it on earlier. We were rooting for him.
Yeah. Well, what number are you?
Number 6.
Number 6. That's a demonic number, Mr. President.
Well, I could have picked 7.
I was born in June, though, so.
I was born in June.
Your birthday is like the 23rd or something right, Mr. President?
It's June 14th, Brad,
really?
1946.
Mine is June 9th, 6/9 is mine.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah. Do you know everybody's birthday in the country?
I'm a lot like Santa Claus. I've got a list of people's birthdays.
Really?
I'll be sending birthday notes to people.
I should show you this. I meant to show Ian this earlier. But I got a nice gift when we were in, you were there with me. We had a fun time in Tennessee at the Third Eye Carnival. And Dee's last, Derek from Canada, was there. Him and his buddy drove down, and he gave us this gift here. Very, very cute. Let me put us up on the screen. Get that big girl off of the screen there.
Yeah, we're sick of looking at her.
Yes, we are. So he gave some of us 2 ounces of fine silver, and their Trump 45 coins is the one he gave me. I don't know if he gave you the same one, but he likes to give gifts that have that have value,
sentimental value.
He sends Bitcoin sometimes. He's very into alternative type, like decentralized, and he's setting a good example there, giving real value. I mean, this is no joke here. This is worth probably $70 or so. Very cool.
Anywhere from probably $20 to $70.
Because of your tariffs?
Well, because of the price of silver.
Yeah. That's very true, Mr. President. And in case there are werewolves, can't silver?
Yeah, silver bullets beat werewolves every time.
Yeah. Mr. President, are you having any reservations about any decisions you've made throughout your first, I don't know how many days you've been in, but what's your assessment on your presidency so far?
Well, I'm starting to gain carpal tunnel from signing so many executive orders.
You've signed more than any ever.
I've effectively done more than any other president's ever done in the history of presidencies.
I know, you do a lot of them. A lot of them are not enforceable either. You have to get Congress to follow up. they're enforceable PR-wise to put pressure on. So, what do you think his presidency sucks, Stoner? He doesn't like it, Mr. President.
Oh, well, I'm so sorry.
He doesn't like
I'm so
presidency.
sorry. Give it a couple months. Things don't happen instantly. You know, if you know how economy works.
You're dismantling the deep state.
It's not going to happen overnight, but we're dismantling the deep state one step at a time.
Yeah. Do you have any main goals you'd like to accomplish before the end of your presidency?
Well, I'd say before Easter, I'd like to bring down the price of Reese's eggs. You know, we're spending way too much money on Reese's eggs.
It could be your legacy.
And people love the Reese's eggs, you know. They like the omelets. They like all kinds of things. You can make a lot of things out of Reese's eggs.
Is that the ones with the white goo inside?
No, those are Cadbury cream eggs. But we're going to try to bring those prices down, too.
Those are a little disgusting to me. You know, there's a game show, and then we'll get out of here, that Fox News is going to be airing on a Fox News streaming service, so you have to pay for another streaming service if you want to see it. Greg Gutfeld is hosting it. Starts, I think, May 12th, and the game show is called What Did I Miss? I think it should be called Coma. But on January 20th, when you took office, they got a bunch of people, and they sequestered them in upstate New York, away from their phones, away from the internet, away from all civilization, and kept them away from the news for the first 90 days of your presidency is the idea.
I hope they got paid a lot of money for that.
Well,
but, you know, it's very cleansing of the mind and soul to take a break from the internet and the scrolling.
I would agree with that, even though your presidency relies on people not doing that. But I would say they're getting paid well to do that because the grand prize for this game show is just $50,000. So take 3 months off, and for a chance at winning $50,000, they're getting a nice day rate to do all that, I guess. And they're probably all very old people who don't stay connected all the time, if I had to guess. But what they do is they're going to bring them onto the game show, and Greg Gutfeld is going to tell them fake news situations and real news situations that actually happened in the first 90 days.
You know, that sounds a lot better than that CNN game show we watched.
You mean the comedy show thing that they try to do?
Oh, is that not a game show?
No, it's I can't remember what it's called, but it's terrible.
Whatever that thing was pretty awful.
Yeah.
I guess that was their try to do Gutfeld themselves.
I don't know what that was. I really don't know.
Greg's an awfully angry little boy.
He's very short too. He's like 5'2" or something.
He was very angry.
They have to decipher what really happened versus what is made up. And since so many crazy things have happened, except the Epstein list, as Stoner.
Yeah, we know, Stoner. We know. They just can't handle it yet. We're working on it. We don't want people to think that I'm just going to take over and it'd be like a dictatorship, you know. But we're going to get it out. We're going to get them all. We're going to get your pedo parade. Don't you worry about that. Keep holding your breath.
It was a little insulting what you did with the binders, Mr. President.
The binders?
Where you had all these weirdos walk out and wave binders around full of documents that have been public for a decade. We're fools.
You gotta. Part of it is showmanship, Brad. You know that. You work in entertainment.
No, I understand that, but that's a little insulting.
And it's all entertainment. You know, like we don't live in reality anymore.
Yes.
Weird Truman Show.
Finally acknowledging what we all are sensing.
Hey, I'm the first one to say it, baby. You know, like it's all, you know, Cobra's in charge of everything. We're trying to get Cobra out of there. They did a good job of brainwashing your entire generation through G.I. Joe and making you think that existed, you know. But no, it's only Cobra that exists.
I remember the clip of them talking about the media controlling everything and G.I. Joe, and it's controlled by Cobra.
Yep, that's right. And if you can control the media, you can control the truth. That's what Cobra Commander said.
And Stoner did give you some credit here. He did like that you pardoned Ross.
Yeah, I took a lot of heat for that. You know, it was either Palestine or Ross. We had to.
Yeah, right. That's what I thought. So if Ross would still be behind prison, all those children in Palestine would still be alive. Correct?
Yeah, we would have just erased that debt that they made on October 7th of just murdering all those innocent people with their Cobra weapons.
The sign said free Ross, not free Palestine, and you got to read the fine print, I guess. It's one of the other presidency. And that game show, I don't think they even needed to sequester people, because you could literally get people in a room and say, which one of these things is real or fake? And people wouldn't know right now because they're so siloed in the news that they watch. Would you agree, Mr. President?
Well, it's all a huge echo chamber. You know, people, like you say, people just want to be confirmed by their own confirmation bias. People want to be comfortable. We're creatures of habit.
Yes, I have to show you something, and then we're going. Mr. President, can you see my screen right now? Look at this.
Yeah, that's some trophy you've got there.
It's from India.
What do you think? What are you, like Indiana Jones?
I don't know where it's from. Actually, I can't remember. No, it's I got inherited from my parents, and they inherited it from my uncle. This thing's like 100 years old, dude. Look at that.
Oh, based on that, it looks like a Chinese woman.
A Chinese woman. And another thing I inherited from my parents. Also, don't know exactly how old this is, but you see that?
Yeah, it's some type of African princess bust.
I think that USC or I can't always get it confused. The fighter would have rather been sitting with one of these nice ladies. What do you think?
Oh, than that disgusting
Starbucks barista.
Starbucks barista, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I didn't see the Free Palestine people kicked out of the Bernie rally. That's hilarious. Lots of tits, I know.
Oh man, Bernie went and complained about communism at Coachella, where everything's completely overpriced and these kids aren't even using good drugs anymore.
What? Excuse me?
That's all stepped on.
But you don't do drugs.
I don't. I'm just saying that they don't get good ones anymore because it's all stepped on by the cartels. And they're paying all that money, I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy of these kids.
You think if they're going to go to Coachella, though, it should be quality?
Well, I mean, they're spending all that. Like, the irony is that, Bernie's going and complaining about capitalism to all these rich kids who've used all their parents' money off of capitalism to go to Coachella and use expensive drugs and pay overpriced food for bands that probably aren't even good anymore.
Right. I think that you should do a Coachella kind of in the White House, like where they used to do the egg. You'll find the eggs on Easter. You do a little Coachella instead.
Like Whitechella.
Whitechella, yeah. Whitechella. All right, Mr. President.
Maybe we'll have David Duke.
We'll bring David Duke in there, and he can be the Grand Master of Easter in Coachella. We got to get out of here. We love you, President Trump, says Bad Christian. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out in the chat. It was fun.
I love you too, Bad Christian.
Playing around. Always
We're gonna
enjoy.
Get 'em. Don't worry. Keep holding your breath.
Always enjoy having you on, and maybe next time we'll do a couple rounds of free association. But do need to get going right now. I'll send you that link to that young reporter. I know you'd like to get her a White House press pass.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and you guys, propagandafight.com is the website. At Freedom Act Radio. All the links for ways to support the show or share the show are in the bio there. And Mr. President Action Show Studios, I know, is a group that you work with. What's the website there? Is it .com?
Yeah, sure.
.com, yeah, sure. All right, and whitehouse.gov. You guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye.